Welcome to episode 16 of the Unstoppable podcast. My name is J Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? Welcome to episode 16 of the Unstoppable podcast. It appears that spring is here. Yeah, the weekend was the first day of spring here in Great Britain, and the sun is shining. The weather is fantastic. I am buzzing for an amazing week this week. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Welcome to this episode of the Monday Motivation. I've got some big things coming up for you today. We're going to be debriefing on John Holowaty's episode from last Thursday. There were some amazing nuggets of wisdom within John's episode that I'm delighted to share with you again today. Today, we're also going to be looking at the rules of happiness. After an experience I had this weekend, I'm going to share some insights on happiness. And then finally, I'm going to share a few things that are going on here at Unstoppable HQ. So I'm going to kick off. Normally, I will include a quote of the day within this episode, but I've got something slightly different for you today. From a book I was reading at the weekend, there's an old Sioux legend. I'm just going to read it for you. It's very short, but it's very pertinent and very powerful. So here goes. In ancient times, the Creator wanted to hide something from the humans until that they were ready to see it. He gathered all the other creatures of creation to ask for their advice. The eagle said, "Give it to me and I will take it to the highest mountain in all of the land." But the Creator said, "No, one day they will conquer the mountain and they will find it." The salmon said, "Leave it with me and I will hide it at the very bottom of the ocean." But the Creator said, "No, for humans are explorers at heart, and one day they will go there too." The buffalo said, "I will take it and bury it in the very heart of the Great Plains." But the Creator said, "No, for one day even the skin of the earth will be ripped open and they will find it there." The creatures of creation were stumped, but then an old blind mole spoke up. "Why don't you put it inside of them? That's the very last place that they will ever look." The Creator said, "It's done." I thought that's a very powerful story, and one of the reasons why I shared that with you today will become clear when I get to the section on the rules of happiness. So let's move on to debrief John Holowaty's episode from last week. 3 things that I'm really excited about implementing into my own life, my own business, and I know it's going to make some massive differences to my own performance. So, number 1, John told the story about Ronaldo and Messi. This is a football or a soccer analogy, but it can easily be applied to your life, whether you know about football or soccer or not. And what John said was that Ronaldo spends every single day being focused on being better at football, and he cuts out all of the distractions. Now, the most important piece for me there was 2 things. Firstly, the path of mastery. You must select the one path of mastery which you will become a world great at. If you want to become absolutely great in your field, or you want to achieve something beyond all reasonable expectation in your lifetime, you want to achieve greatness, then you must choose one area of mastery. And the second piece then is to avoid distractions at all costs. I call it avoid walking into the distraction valley. You know, where all the other things that are happening, all the shiny objects, all the different things that you could possibly do with your time. Mastery is about relentless focus on one area of mastery. And that's something I've taken away. And I spent some time at the weekend evaluating what that one thing is. And I know we've talked about it over previous episodes in terms of the big picture, the big vision, and then singling it down to that one area of lifetime mastery. Let's move on to the second piece now. The second quote from John was, "You have to hang around with great people to be great." And what he spoke about was he wanted to surround himself with people who believed in his vision and detach himself from those who perhaps did not support him in the way that he wanted to be supported. And that was something I took away myself, thinking, okay, so who is really backing my dreams right now? Who's really backing my vision? Who's in my corner? And there's a number of people who probably silently support me, but what I'm looking for now is people who will be around me to challenge, help me grow, and are fully on board with the mission that I'm looking to fulfill. So expanding your peer group to bring great people in who are not only at the same level as you, but beyond your level of expertise or your level of achievement to help you on your path. And the third piece was really the most insightful. And when John was speaking about his superhuman character, designing his own future by designing who he wanted to become. And he described it being like a computer game where you create the characteristics of the person that you'll play in the game. And that's no different from the characteristics that we'll play in our game and the game of life. So what I did this weekend is I took some time out to look at the skills, the characteristics, the identity that I need to develop and become to reach the level of achievement that I want to achieve in my lifetime, to reach the level of greatness, to reach the level of impact, the level of influence, the level of income, all the things that I need to become as a human being, whether it's more confidence, whether it's a better speaker, the better podcast host, all the different things that I need to work upon in order to achieve the highest levels within my field. And this was something I could see that's made such an impact in John. He reflects on it every single day in terms of that superhuman character, Super John, he called himself. So take the time to decide on the characteristics that you would like to embody, those things that will help you achieve your goals and your visions. What do you need to bolster? What do you need to enhance? How do you need to show up on a daily basis? What do you need to bring into your life to help you achieve? And write down all those characteristics and then rate them every single day. Are you living those characteristics? What do you need to do to reach the next level? Simply mark it out of 10. If you're a 5 out of 10 on confidence, what will it take you to get a 6, 7, 8? And this is something I'm going to be doing every single day. I've started the process of identifying the factors that I believe will be necessary for me to reach greatness within my field and certainly the next level of goals. We spoke about in the previous episode about bringing it down to milestones, measurable milestones. So choosing the characteristics will get you to the next level. And then once you're there, evaluate what it takes to get to the next level. That's my 3 insights from John's episode. There's lots more to come. That was just part 1 of 2 for John. Due to the technical difficulties he had, we re-recorded the second piece, and that's going to be coming out this week for you to enjoy. So I look forward to releasing that for you. So we're going to move now into the Unstoppable Insights section. I know I'm going at 100 miles an hour today. I'm really fired up. I'm really excited. Today we're going to be talking about the rules of happiness. I'm going to shift gears here a little bit. And the reason I'm going to talk about this is because just this weekend, I went away for the weekend for a wedding, and fortunately it was right on the coast, in the deep southwest coast of England, beautiful stretch of coastline. So I took the opportunity to go and reflect and take some time to look on where I've been and where I'm going and how I'm feeling. And when I sat down, I wrote down 10 questions that I wanted to answer for myself. And one of those questions was, what am I most happy about in my life right now? And aside from the immediate peace around being at the beach and enjoying my surroundings, I really struggled to answer the question. And this came at some surprise because I've been working really hard. I've been pursuing my goals and my visions, and I've been more productive than any other time in my life. But what I realized was in that moment when I realized I couldn't come up with the answers to that question, what am I most happy about in my life right now? I realized I was mentally and physically exhausted. I'd signposted that day already to have a break. I wanted to take some time out. I took the opportunity whilst I was at the coast just to really unwind, breathe, and relax. But I realized I'd been going full steam, and by doing that, I'd just worn myself out. I'd actually lost the ability to feel present and happy about what I was doing. I was so focused that I failed to take my head out of the water and come up for breath. So it was a bit of a revelation for me. So as I couldn't answer the question, what am I most happy about in my life right now, I wrote down a different question to help me refocus. And that question was, what are all the things that make me truly happy? And that was a much easier list to write. I took my pen to paper and I started writing down everything that makes me happy, everything that makes me come alive, everything that makes me feel joyous, anything that makes me feel vibrant. And that was a really enlightening process because as all these things came out, I was list. But then what I noticed was I had not been doing many, if not any of these things, not even the simple stuff like putting on some rock music in the morning and rocking out to my favorite tunes. Even the simple stuff had been swept by the wayside by this relentless focus on achieving my goals. And it just came to that moment where I thought, what's the point in focusing so hard on achieving my goals, being so future focused, if I can't enjoy the process right now? It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey as much as the destination. And I'd been working so hard, I'd worn myself out, and I couldn't even feel present and happy in the moment. So I had to decide to make some changes in that moment. I had to decide on how I was going to reframe this and refocus and use the opportunity. What I really noticed is that my rules for happiness, when I listed all those things down, were all things outside of me. They're all experiences that I had to create. They're all about things, the businesses, the relationship, the home, where I wanted to live, the car that I want, the experiences I want to have, the travel. I can't go and visit South America every single day, every single weekend whilst I'm trying to build a business. So I had this list of things that needed to happen in order to trigger this deep level of happiness. And I thought to myself, I've set up the game to fail. If these are my rules for happiness, I'm always going to be struggling. I've not made it easy for myself. Even if I did have all of these things on a consistent basis, and I was able to do all of these things that identified that made me happy, it made me think about all the people that do have what they want. How many people do you know that have all the material things in the world that they want? The house, the car, the pool, the diamond ring, all these things and items that they believe will make them happy, yet they're still thoroughly miserable. So it made me reflect even more deeply. If it's not the things that I do and the things that I have that make me happy, then what is it that truly makes us happy? You see, I believe that we're born innately happy. But all of our experiences through life lead us to buy into this myth that happiness only happens as a result of the things outside of ourselves. So by setting the rules for happiness to be the things outside of me, this was just a means to failure. No wonder why. Even if I wasn't tired and burnt out on that Friday morning on the beach, even if I was fully vibrant, my rules for happiness were so far outside of me that it's a struggle to feel it on a daily basis. And I think we all fall into this trap, the pursuit of happiness, and we deem it to be things outside of us. And I really think when it comes to some of the stresses and the strains that we experience in life, I believe that these are brought on by our misguided attempt to make ourselves feel better by having, doing, or achieving the right things. But how about this? What if happiness is the essence of who we are? What if happiness is our natural state of being and not a goal to be pursued? If happiness is at the essence of who we are, then there is nothing that we need to do, change, be, or have to be happy. Now, I know this one's a bit of a tough one to get our head around, but to get our happiness back on track, we must turn our attention within and stop looking outside. See, happy people realize that happiness is a choice. Happy people are not held hostage by their circumstances, and they do not seek happiness in people or possessions or job titles or the things they do. They understand that when we stop chasing the world's definition of happiness, we begin to see the decision to experience happiness has been there all along right in front of us. You see, today all we have right now is all we have. And our time on earth is extremely limited. So it's very important to make the most of it whilst we're here. So we need to find ways to be happy in the moment and not tie it to things outside of ourselves or things we need to do or things we need to think or things we need to have. So I know this is a big challenge, but I came up with 10 rules that changed the way I thought about happiness. And already it's having an impact. Just 2 days later, recording this podcast, my mood this morning, my impact, my productivity, and the way I was feeling, most importantly, as I was working this morning, was radically improved. Happiness was just at my core. It just became my being. So here are the 10 rules that I developed that I believe will radically transform my own happiness, but by sharing them with you, I believe will help you transform your happiness. So number 1, most importantly, happiness is only ever now. So decide to enjoy the moment without focusing your energy on the past or the future, and just avoid that future fatigue. I got to that point where I was so goal-orientated, so focused on the future that I'd forgot about the now and enjoying the moment and being happy in what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong, if you're not happy in the now, then it's really important to reevaluate what you're doing. And that brings me to point number 2, in that it's important to consciously engage in activities and thinking that boosts our mood. It's all very well me saying being happy in the moment now, but there are things, of course, that we can do. I'm not dismissing the fact that we have things outside of us that can help us feel happy. But number 1 is the choice to be happy now at our core. Return to that core natural being of being happy. But then secondly, enhance it not rely upon it. Enhance it by consciously engaging in activities and the thinking that boost our mood. Step 3 is to disengage with or avoid the activities or mindsets that bring us down. There's all kinds of things that we know if we're engaging in or indulging on a regular basis, they drain us of our energy, they drain us of our mood. If we learn to cut those things out, we're just giving ourselves a helping hand. Linked to that, rule number 4 is ditch the neg ferrets. We're all surrounded by different types of people. One of the key points for today was, if you want to be great, surround yourself with great people. Well, if you want to be happy, surround yourself with happy people. If there's negative people in your life who are bringing you down, either help them realize that they need to change the way they're being, or just eliminate them. But do you know what? You cannot change someone else. Only they can change themselves. So it has to become a must for them. So just remove yourself from the environment and surround yourself with happy people. Rule number 5 is to reframe. What do I mean about this? This is about learning to appreciate both sides of the coin. We can't necessarily control what comes into our brain as thoughts, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell upon. And there will be circumstances where we're led to have a negative reaction or we feel unhappy about something. But then if we just ask ourselves, what's good about this? What about this could make me happy? And start to notice the other side of the coin, then we'll start to enhance our state of mind. That's called reframing. And by doing this, we'll have a better way of viewing every aspect of our life and we'll become more satisfied. Rule number 6 is to accept what is. We need to learn to accept the things about the world that we simply cannot change. There are things that we cannot change, so we don't need to get bent out of shape over the things that we cannot change. We need to focus on the things that are under our control, the things that we can influence, and just let the things that we cannot influence be. Rule number 7 is to have immense amounts of gratitude. I made some big shifts over the weekend in terms of focusing to the now. What am I most grateful for right now? In the moments of gratitude, it's impossible to feel anything other than a positive emotion. So developing a culture of appreciation, trading our expectations for appreciation, it's going to be a game changer. Focusing on what we're most grateful for, it's going to give you that positive sense, that warm feeling inside of all the things that we're grateful for. In that process, there's only one thing that's going to happen when you really truly focus on what you're grateful for. There's a massive shift in something called your face, and it's your smile. Rule number 8 is choose to smile. I learned this from Jake Ducey a couple episodes ago. Spend a couple of moments, a couple of minutes even, every morning just smiling. Put a gigantic grin on your face right now and feel the smile. Do it. Come on. I know you're listening to this. Smile deeply. How does it feel? You might even be chuckling because it's silly. Be playful. Smile right now. Notice how it makes you feel. That's right. It makes us feel happy. We're in full control of that thing on our face. Choose to use it. Use it wisely and smile. Rule number 9, choose optimism. It's very easy when you look at the newspaper headlines and the news to feel negative, depressed, all these different adverse situations that are out there in the world. It's very easy to get negative and upset. Well, step 1 is get that crap out of your life and just focus on good stuff. But choose to feel optimistic about the future. Not really to the point where you're so future focused like I was that you forget to live in the now, but just be optimistic about everything that's happening right now and take control and know that what you're working on right now is going to work out. I mean, if you're not working on something you believe is going to work out, you got a serious problem. So choose to be optimistic. Think positive about what's happening. This isn't about a bunch of pump-up, positive thinking, motivational crap. This is about just be optimistic. If you're not working on something that you believe is going to turn out well, then one of two things is happening. You're thinking the wrong way or you're doing the wrong thing. So believe in what you're doing, think positively, have that optimistic outlook, and you'll feel a change. And number 10, this could be number 1, is keep things simple. Those who live the most simplistic lifestyles are those who feel the most happy. We just add layers of complexity to our lives, and all it leads to is frustration, struggle. Every area of our life, the simpler we make things, the easier it becomes. We're not wired to make things complicated, but somehow we feel the necessary to do it. I don't know where it comes from, but if we can return to simplicity, then we will find deeper levels of enlightenment and happiness. So those are my 10 rules of happiness. To recap, happiness is only ever now. Be happy in the moment. Number 2 is to consciously engage in all the activities that boost our mood. Number 3 is to disengage and disassociate and avoid those things that bring us down, including number 4, ditching the neg ferrets, surround yourself only with happy, positive people. Number 5 is to reframe and appreciate both sides of the coin when things don't go your way. Number 6 is to accept things as they are, let things be, realize that you cannot change certain things and focus on those things that are under your control. Number 7, have a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation. Number 8, reduce the unemployment in your face and smile. And number 9, choose optimism and positivity. And number 10, keep things simple. Those are my new 10 rules for happiness. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know if they've affected you today. And hopefully you are walking away from this episode with a gigantic smile on your face, ready to take on the world, enjoying the moment as you are, excited about the future, but fully present in the moment now with a gigantic smile with happiness flowing through you. That's my intention for you. Final piece here is what's working now in the news at Unstoppable HQ. So last week I had my first webinar for the Unstoppable Entrepreneur Program. This is for visionary entrepreneurs and thought leaders, those who want to stand for something, those who want to make a dent in the universe, those who want to create a living legacy and be influential within your industry and beyond. This webinar is for you. This webinar is all about kickstarting your movement, getting paid what you're worth, and learning how to attract your tribe to your business. The good news is I'm going to be recording it as an asset that I'll be able to share with those who want to see it. This is going to be an invite-only webinar. It's only for those who really have a big vision for what they want to create in their business. This is some sacred material that I've worked on for a number of years, and I know it's transformational, but I only want it to get into the hands of those who are going to use it. So if you're interested in seeing this unique hour-long webinar, I'm going to be re-recording it today, and I will be sharing it with those who I identify with as big thinkers, visionary entrepreneurs, inspired thought leaders, those who are out there to make a big difference in the world, want to create transformational results, not only for themselves, but they're for their clients and are in it for the long run. Number 2, I'm right now focusing on expanding the podcast and creating a short list of guests. Really excited about attracting even more high-level guests and growing the audience of the podcast. But I also want to start introducing daily videos to get my message across and help you guys achieve your goals and dreams and help you think big and go out there and unleash your greatness. So that's everything that's going on at Unstoppable HQ right now. It's an exciting time to be here. It's frantic. It's exciting. I'm very optimistic, but I'm happy right now, I've learned. And, if this struck a chord with you today about happiness and being in the now, then do make a note in your journal to trigger yourself every morning to be present, be happy with what you have, feel your appreciation. So this week's challenge to close the episode is implement those 10 rules. Have a look at those 10 rules. Find which rules resonate with you and just choose 1 or 2 to implement right away. And notice how it feels in your life. My challenge to you is to be happy in the moment and happily achieve rather than achieve to be happy. That's it for today. This Thursday coming up, part 2 of the John Holowaty interview. Really excited about that. John built an amazing 7-figure business, but not only that, he's created this entire global movement of young entrepreneurs. So that's it from this week. Can't wait till Thursday. Please continue to share this podcast. The message is now getting out there. The podcast is growing exponentially every single week. Each podcast episode is getting more and more listeners. My mission is to help you think big and go out there and achieve your dreams. So please continue to share this material. We'll continue to attract great guests for the show. So please do share this. What would really help with that is 5-star reviews on iTunes. It helps me stay in the new and noteworthy once I have the privilege of being featured in that section. So please leave a review for the podcast. If you have some specific feedback, do email me. Go to the website unstoppablepodcast.com and fill in the contact information on there on the contact site. I would read out my email address, but having put my email address on my blog last week, I had over 700 spam messages, so please go and use the contact form. I will read your message that way. I would love your feedback, so thanks very much for listening today. Look forward to Thursday. Remember, you are unstoppable. Go out there, make it happen, unleash your greatness, and build your empire.